Valedictorian Award. It's given to the senior with the most distinguished academic record during their career at Gunston. Let me confess my introductory challenge today. Today's winners are twibs, and their academic records and extracurricular achievements are, for the most part, identical. If you have a sibling, you know that siblings can bring out the best in you, or sometimes the worst, depending on your relationship. But these two sisters have created a wonder twin duo of support, excellence, and true friendship for the entirety of their Gunston career. Their collective sisterly brilliance and effort has been something to behold. Yet I really need to say this at the outset, and I ask you not to lose sight of this, either during my introduction or during their remarks. Each of the two young women honored today have reached this level of excellence individually. And if there is anything I worry about today, it's that you will somehow mentally note the winners today as the Miller twins, rather than as two remarkable individuals, Abby Fong Miller and Magdalena Maggie Lee Miller. It goes without saying that Abby and Maggie's academic records are exceptional, having earned perfect 4.0 grade point averages across perhaps the most rigorous course load ever taken in the history of Gunston, including 11 AP courses where they have already been honored as AP scholars with distinction, and a math curriculum that included AP, BC Calculus, AP Stats, and an online multivariable calculus course. Outside the classroom, they're student, athlete, artists, chess masters, having been on the varsity lacrosse and math competition, having been on the varsity lacrosse and sailing teams. They are the champions of the 2022 Eastern Shore Math Competition. They're national Spanish exam medalists, and they were both honorees of the Congressional Art Competition, which is very competitive. They were both inducted into the National Honor Society, and they are both National Merit Scholarship finalists, which means out of the 4.5 million high school students that took the PSAT, they were in the top 7,500. They can probably do this math problem in their head, but that's the top 1/5 of 1% of all high school students. It's truly impressive. Again, both of them have achieved these things, but they have each achieved them individually. I had the pleasure of teaching Abby and Maggie in my class. So on a personal level, let me start with Abby. Although she's reserved and kind, there were many moments in the year where I got what I call the Abby eyebrow. Whenever a provocative conversational lure was offered, Abby's eyebrow would say, "I see what you're trying to do here, and I am not going to get sucked into this." Meanwhile, whenever I read a writing assignment from Abby, especially something involving a system or an argument, it was like watching a surgeon with a scalpel. Abby, when I learned that you're going to be studying mechanical engineering, that made complete sense to me, because I can see the way that your mind loves to consider how each individual element of a system works to create a more successful whole. In this, Abby, your analytical capacities are something to behold and will serve you well at the University of Rochester. Maggie Miller is headed to the University of Pennsylvania, where she's going to study chemical engineering. Maggie, when I think of you, I think of the chemical concept of a catalyst. You're always in motion, always creating new opportunities for yourself and others, and having taught you, I've seen the way that a concept or insight from you, driven by passionate connection to the material, energizes the room and triggers a reaction. However, by definition, a catalyst is a substance that increases the rate of a chemical reaction without itself undergoing any permanent chemical change. So that's another feature of Maggie. She presents a cool and calm exterior, although for those of us who know Maggie well, we know that the emotional fires burn strongly within her. There is no limit to what she can achieve. Please welcome the remarkably worthy recipients of this year's Middleton Award, Ms. Abby Miller, Ms. Maggie Miller.
Good morning, I'm Abby. 4 years ago, my family sold our childhood home and moved to Easton for my sister and I to attend Gunston. At our old school, my father didn't believe that we were being challenged. My mother didn't want us falling into the mold that the school sets for their students, and Maggie and I were fed up with the social cliques. We had already put so much time, money, and effort into reaching our fullest potential, and we weren't going to settle for anything less. Throughout 8th grade, we looked into other high schools that would be a better fit for us not only as students, but as people. Our hope was that coming to Gunston would allow us to grow into the people that we are today, that we could make friends and be part of the community no matter what sport we played or classes we took. Gunston makes the promise that it is a welcoming environment, and they deliver with that promise. In high school, there are so many opportunities for kids to be mean, but here kids choose to be kind. The second hope was that we could be academically challenged. And believe me, I was challenged. I stayed up much later than my parents wanted me to, and I divided my summers between trying to have fun and taking classes to get ahead for the next school year. A lot of people, including our friends, say, oh, it's easy for them. They do fine in any class they take. Sure, on the surface, it seems like that, but it definitely was not easy. Maggie and I didn't become valedictorians by default or a stroke of luck. There were hours of work put in each day, because that was our primary focus. Of course, I couldn't have done it without Gunston's teachers. I want to thank Dr. Mahdi and Ms. Shep for seeing my potential in math, Mr. Weimer for showing me that stories are the basis of our lives, Senora Angrita for taking my Spanish to a level that I didn't know was possible, Mr. Lewis for making me look forward to voting this upcoming fall, Mr. Chafee, and in fact the whole sailing team, for proving that it's never too late to start something new. All the other teachers and all my classmates for making these years ones I'll remember forever. And to my parents for always supporting me in whatever I do and pushing me to keep striving for better. But most importantly, I could not have done it without the person up here standing next to me. Here's my little sister. By only 5 minutes, Maggie.
You know, growing up, it seemed like Abby was the smarter twin. She'd score a little higher on the science quiz, finish her multiplication tables a little faster, the list goes on. I thought for sure she'd be the only one up here today. This made me jealous, thinking, what does she have that I don't? But then I realized, I have the same DNA as her. So here I am. Abby and I have continued to push each other to be better. She is the one who has made me more detail-oriented. She will motivate me at 11 o'clock to finish my essay that's due the next day. She'll give me her honest opinion, whether I like it or not. Of course, we're competitive, but that makes it so we're constantly improving to try and outdo one another. At the start of high school, we were originally placed into Honors Algebra 2. After a month, we moved up to pre-calculus. Ms. Gravis did her magic behind the scenes to make that schedule change work, but we had to be in 2 different classes. This meant that as a freshman, I was in a class with 8 seniors and 3 juniors, without Abby at my side. To be honest, I was intimidated. I felt incredibly out of place, and for that reason, I dreaded the class. But I also had a reason to look forward to it. I got to listen to what the seniors were saying. And as you can guess, most of it was just everyday stuff, like their plans for the weekend or trying to find a summer job. But what I learned from those conversations was that seniors weren't these young adults with their futures all planned out, like I previously had thought. They were still kids like me, trying to figure out their lives. They had their own challenges with college applications, SAT testing, and the knowledge that their lives as they knew it were coming to an end. As much as I'd like to say now that I know what the future has in store for me, I don't. Nobody does. And that is what all of you graduating tomorrow should keep in mind. As much as it may seem that someone has it all together, you don't know their whole story. I'd like to take the chance now to address my fellow classmates. My mom likes to tell Abby and I, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. It's easy to see the truth of the matter once it's over, but we have to stay focused on what is in front of us. That is why I look forward to seeing where life takes all of us in the next 4 years. And congratulations once again to the class of 2022.